So in the autonomic nervous system, there's the sympathetic and parasympathetic. Sympathetic is one of the two parts of the ANS, but also known as the fight or flight. This is best for reacting to anything that requires any fast reaction. The parasympathetic is the other part of the ANS that is in charge of all organs, ensuring that they're doing their job. This occurs unconsciously. So right here is the CNS and the PNS of the sympathetic nervous system. There's also preganglionic neurons, which are right here. The preganglionic neurons are present in the brainstem and spinal cord. Neurons are present in the visceral and reflex arc. Next is the preganglionic nerve fiber. In the sympathetic nervous system, it's obvious that that one is shorter than the parasympathetic, but it's going to be this part right here. And these are short fibers that have myelin. These fibers are protected, and the myelin helps speed up impulses to the nervous system. And then for the sympathetic, the yellow part is going to be the sympathetic ganglion, and after that is the ganglionic neurons, which is that. Preganglionic neurons leave the CNS and synapse on the ganglionic neurons. These neurons initiate visceral effectors. So just like this sympathetic nervous system, the parasympathetic is going to have its own ganglion as well, and it's going to be the yellow part right there. So as it's going down the sympathetic nervous system, it will either go to the ganglionic neurons or go to the bloodstream and then reach the target organ. But before that, it goes to the postganglionic fibers, which is going to be the gray part right here and also on this side as well. And then once that goes through there, it's going to reach the target system. There's a receptor called nicotinic acetylcholine receptor. These lay on top of the sympathetic and parasympathetic ganglionic cells. The function is to respond to compound nicotine. Neurotransmitters are going to be located all throughout the nervous system, but the acetylcholine one is going to be the black arrows right here. The function is to work as a neurotransmitter throughout the nervous system. Norepinephrine is going to be the green arrows located right here. It's a drug used to raise blood pressure. A hormone is released from the adrenal medulla and by the sympathetic nerve. Epinephrine is going to be the red arrows located right here, and as you can see, it's through the bloodstream. And epinephrine is a hormone that responds to stressful situations by increasing someone's heart rate. In the sympathetic nervous system, there's going to be a receptor called the adrenic receptor. It releases epinephrine or epinephrine-like substances. Also, muscarinic acetylcholine receptors. This is located in certain neurons and form G protein receptors. So something that's in charge of secreting hormones such as epinephrine and norepinephrine is going to be your adrenal medulla. The sympathetic nervous system has a stimulation that causes the bronchial passageway to dilate, and that's called bronchial dilation. So the ANS has two beta-1 and beta-2 receptors. Beta-1 is a stimulation that increases metabolic activity. An example of this is the B1 receptors in the heart are stimulated to increase heart rate and forced contraction. The beta-2 receptors causes relaxation of smooth muscles along the respiratory tract. An example of this is respiratory passageway dilate to help make breathing easier. Next, the ANS has the alpha-1 receptor. This is the most common type of alpha receptor. It activates G protein, and intracellular calcium ions leave the endoplasmic reticulum. So a good way to understand how the alpha-1 receptor works is this is the alpha-1, and it looks like a fish. A fish has an eye, and the eye means that it's a sympathetic. And the sympathetic and the alpha come together as the eye dilates. So the sympathetic nervous system and the alpha work together to dilate the pupil, and that's one of the functions of the alpha. So like I said in the beginning of the video, parasympathetic is in charge of any target organs, but the vagus nerve is one of the 12 cranial nerves that lead down to the abdominal, heart, esophagus, and lungs, and it creates any response. Thus, there are two receptors left in the autonomic nervous system, one being the ionic receptor. Its job is to allow smaller molecules in and out of the cell, and it also allows ions in and out. And the last receptor is the metabotropic. This is associated with G proteins and activate other molecules. In the end, the ANS's job is to respond to anything, whether it be fight or flight or unconsciously. Fight or flight is going to be the sympathetic, and as it goes down, it will go to the bloodstream or the ganglionic neurons and reaches the target. And the parasympathetic has the really long preganglionic fiber, and it goes straight down to the target organ unconsciously.